Welcome back to another episode of the Mom Founders Table. And this is the second episode of our wellness series for millionaire moms or multimillionaire moms or moms that want to be millionaires and are working their asses off to get there, right? So we talked last week all about movement. And what's interesting is that I think that movement is obviously one of the first things to go when we get really busy, when we're like, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. We might put it in our schedule and then we don't actually do it. And so being able to talk through and just recognize the importance of movement, hopefully has given you the kick in the ass and the reminder that like you are the priority of your business. And I was actually in Scottsdale a couple weeks ago teaching a workshop to some seven-figure business owners all about sustainable scaling. And what's interesting is I taught on my 5 keys of sustainable scaling. And the first key is all about building and solidifying your foundation, and your foundation being you, which I'm sure that you've heard me repeat countless times because I am adamant and know for sure that it is the most important thing to take care of yourself beyond everything else. So it was very interesting to me to see how much pushback, how much fear, and just the things that people were sharing that was so beautiful to hear people be vulnerable, but just really acknowledging the thoughts that come up. And so, for instance, there was one woman and she was like, well, every time I want to exercise, my thought is, well, that doesn't make me money. And so I'm bringing this up because even though we talked about exercise last week, it is a reminder that your thoughts can always be challenged and your beliefs about things can always be changed. And it's so important for us to develop the willingness and the habit of actually challenging our thoughts. Because if we don't challenge our thoughts that come from our belief systems, then our actions never change, which is why we stay stuck. So whether that's stuck in, prioritizing your business over your health, whether that's stuck in prioritizing your business over your relationships, whether that's stuck making the same decisions that drain you in your business, whatever the patterns are, you have the power to change them. And so when we're talking about prioritizing your wellness, one of the most important things that we could actually do is sleep. And this was another topic that actually I brought up as a part of this workshop when we were talking about the foundation, that again, there was a lot of just like, wow, are you serious? And it's another place that when we get busy, it is the easiest place to take time from, and it is the worst place for us to take time from. So we're talking a little bit about sleep today. I want you to stick with me. This is going to be a shorter episode, but I want to not just educate you on the importance of sleep because logically we know that, but also be able to help you recognize some ways that you probably could be sleeping more and how that's going to impact the growth of your business. So the average adult actually needs 7 to 9 hours of sleep. And what was blowing people's mind was actually sleep temperatures. So I believe the optimal sleep temperature is like between 63 and 66, I want to say. It might be 64 and 67 or something like that. But somewhere in that range is the best sleeping temperature. And there is a book called Why We Sleep that I highly recommend. It's not like necessarily the most fun book to read, but it really shows you that like essentially as business owners, we want to and need to be high performers. and us striving to be high performers, high achievers, to do more in less time, to be productive, all of these things have certain requirements. And when we don't meet those requirements, we stall, right? So if we are not exercising or eating well or sleeping, we can't be high performers, which is where we get lost because we have thoughts like the woman shared about, well, exercise doesn't make me money, to where we need to start challenging those thoughts to where every time I exercise, it makes me feel so good in my body that I confidently speak and express myself in new ways that always makes me money. These are the kinds of thoughts that we have to become aware of. This is the deeper level work and ways of thinking and being that we have to change if we want a different result. To be honest with you, it's very easy, again, to just say, okay, I'm busy, so I'm not going to work out, and I'm busy, so I'm going to work later, and I'm going to get up and start working. I have met countless people that essentially wake up, even moms wake up even before their kids get up and instantly open either their email, their laptop, or both, right? And it's this need to feel like we're getting something done. It's this need and this external validation that we are seeking to be valuable enough, to tell ourselves that we're worthy, to tell ourselves that we are being productive enough. But the issue with these types of habits is that these types of habits are short-sighted. And so when we're thinking about our success and what we want to build and what is important to us, what is important to you, if I were to ask you, what is most important to you? Making a lot of money right now, or creating financial freedom that allows you to enjoy the life that you're living? I imagine that you would choose the second one. And so when we take away things that are foundational for our mental health, for our physical well-being, what happens is we cut off the possibility to create that. What is the purpose in us creating these incredible businesses? What is the purpose in us stacking cash and making our, growing our net worth and building all this financial wealth if our lives don't feel wealthy? And so if we want wealthy lives, if we want our quality of life to improve, which financial freedom helps us do that, if we want our financial freedom to improve and we want our quality of life to improve, then we need to be able to sustain our businesses. We need to be able to run them from a place of clarity, from a place of focus. And so sleep is the foundation of our health. You need an average of 7 to 9 hours of sleep. That means that you need to be in bed for longer than that. And I didn't really think about this until I got this little Oura ring that I wear. And what I learned from this Oura ring is I get in bed, I read for a little bit, and then I go to sleep, right? Like that's my nighttime routine. Face washing, teeth brushing, reading, sleep. Huge on routines, both for morning and night. I have a whole episode on that if you want to head back and listen to it, exactly what my routines are. But routines obviously signal our brain for sleep. That's why I'm adamant about them. That can improve your sleep just by having a routine where you repeat the same or similar steps every single night. I learned from the Oura ring that our sleep is going to be, our actual sleep hours are going to be less than when we're in bed. So if I say, okay, I get in bed at 9 and get up at 5, what I learned is that generally between reading and like if I have to get up to pee or restlessness or whatever it is, generally it's about an hour, 40 minutes to an hour less. So that tells me if I need a minimum of 7 hours of sleep, I need to be in bed for at least 8 hours. And this is the kind of stuff that then we backtrack that into, okay, if you know that 8 hours of sleep, being in bed for 8 hours is a non-negotiable, what would you change in your schedule and in your life and in your priorities to be able to have that? And for most people, it's turning off things that you think are more important or that you're telling yourself you need to get ahead on, that realistically, if you did it the next day or the day after that, nothing would burn down or fall apart. So it's all brought upon by self-imposed urgency, which we have the power to change. It's all in our mind. So what I want you to do is I want you to actually, like an appointment, I want 8 hours on your calendar for sleeping. And if you need to put that physically on your calendar, do it. Whatever physical barriers that you need to create to be able to honor that time for your brain, for your performance, for your cognitive function. As moms especially, think about the newborn phase. Like, we are barely functioning. Why? Because we're sleep deprived, right? There's a reason why sleep deprivation is used as torture, right? It is the worst thing for us. You can fast. You can make it a while without water. You cannot make it, I don't know what the math is on water, so don't quote me on that. But I know for sure we can go without food longer than we can go without sleep. Right? And so I need for you to set a sleep appointment. I need for you to look at any barriers that you have for that. And then I need you to look at the bookends of your sleep with your night and your morning routine so that you're setting yourself up for success. So you need an 8-hour appointment, right? And if you're somebody, I know that a lot of moms, the issue is either they're working too late, right? Because they're working after kids go to bed. There is alcohol, which I highly recommend removing alcohol completely from your life because it is poison. And there is TV, right? I love a good trash TV show. I love Love is Blind, Selling Sunset, all the stuff. And we watch TV for like an hour. You don't need to watch Netflix for 3 hours after your kids go to bed. I know that a lot of people do it, but it's just when we think about what is going to be best for your goals, if you desire to have a life that feels good and you want to be able to operate at your highest capacity, it requires a lot of pouring into you that we tell ourselves we don't have time for, but we actually do. We just need to remove other shit. Get on social media less, watch less TV, say no to things that are outside of your work hours. Easier said than done. I get it. But you have to break these patterns and you have to understand, again, the importance of sleep. Sleep is the most important thing that you can do for your brain. And you need your brain to be able to run your business. When you don't get a good night of sleep, when you are sleep deprived, you are foggy, right? The mental clarity is not there. The cognitive function is not there, right? So we know what sleep does. This episode isn't so much about like the importance of sleep itself and the science behind sleep. You can look that up anywhere, but it is a reminder of if this is the thing, whether it's movement or sleep or both, that you are slowly reducing to try to get ahead in your business, I'm asking you not to do that. I'm asking you to look at your habits before bed. I'm asking you to set that appointment with yourself in your calendar for 8 hours of sleep. And I'm asking you to also look at your sleep quality. So this is the last thing I'm going to talk about today around sleep. I told you guys, I promised a short episode on this, another kick in the ass to get you sleeping better. I swear, you guys, if you sleep better, your life gets better. If you sleep better, your life gets better. Do not drink alcohol before bed. That's a sleep disruptor. And then prioritize your sleep quality. I am in my eye mask, earplugs, mouth tape, white noise era. I'm like a sleep princess. Like I I need all of these things. I'm like a baby, right? But you know what? I feel amazing. And to be honest with you, I could not imagine how poorly I would feel if I didn't have these things. Because truthfully, I think that one of the biggest issues as, high earning, really high performing, high achieving women, one of the biggest problems that we have is that we don't feel good, that we're just doing just to do because we think it's what we're supposed to do and we're supposed to keep achieving and we're supposed to hit the next goal and the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. But we don't ever actually allow ourselves to feel that. And our emotional regulation is dependent on our brain, our capacity. And so sleep is going to help us regulate our emotions. Sleep is going to help us feel better overall. It's going to help us see things from a different perspective. Nobody's positive Polly when they're sleep deprived. You know what I mean? So your goal and your takeaways from this episode are to put that 8 hours in your calendar. Here's my schedule, right? My kids go to bed at 7. My big kids have Kindles, so they are allowed to read until 8 p.m. We're an early bedtime crew, and we are a sleep schedule family, and it works for us. And so from 7 to 8:30, Eric and I will either sit and talk on the couch. Sometimes we'll watch a show. And then after that, we get in bed around 8:30, 8:45, and it's lights out by 9 o'clock. So that's the schedule, like our bedtime schedule. And then we get up at 5 a.m. Some people are like, how do you get up at 5 a.m.? I'm like, well, I'm literally like winding down from 7 to 8:30, even 7:30 if my big kids were talking or we're reading or whatever, like it takes a little longer. I still have like an hour where I'm winding down, which I don't want to go too deep into this, but again, just thinking about your pre-bedtime activities, please don't drink alcohol. I can't say that enough. It is a sleep disruptor. But, there's that wind down, and then there's the routine aspect of, doing these 3 steps in this order before we get in bed. It allows me to fall asleep quicker, right? Because a lot of us with stress and anxiety, we have a hard time either falling asleep or staying asleep, if not both. And so these are things that can really help you by looking at what you're doing pre-sleep. Alcohol does not help you sleep, even though you think it helps you relax, right? Looking at like our screens, one of the things I shared at the workshop about sleep was like your brain also connects your environments with like, this is what I do here. And so we have no phones in our beds. We actually don't even have a TV in our room. And so just thinking about really curating your environment, it is worth it to really protect your sleep. And if you put these things in place, you will be able to feel better, treat people better, have more clarity, and honestly enjoy your life more, which isn't that what we all want, right? Like, isn't the biggest goal of all happiness over everything? Like financial freedom helps bring us happiness because we have freedom of choice. But if we're grumpy because we're tired, or if we feel like we're never sleeping because we're always working, it really works against us. So that is our wellness episode for this week, all about sleep, the importance of sleep, why it matters, and how to do it better. I hope this is helpful in giving you some things to think about. Understand that you are the foundation of your business and of your success. And without your beautiful brain, we aren't getting anywhere, right? So if you are somebody who is actively seeking to continue scaling, but you need to do it in a sustainable way, if you are a woman who is running a multiple 6 or 7-figure business and you need to really change the way that you are operating the business, and change the way that you are thinking and address your fears, beliefs, and thoughts and all the things that are holding you back from truly living the life that you want. And you really are desiring for 2025 to be the year that your quality of life is as good as your financial return that you are getting from your business, my recommendation for you is to go ahead and book my business audit. My business audit is going to give you very clear direction. It is an assessment that I created to take a deeper look at the current operations of your business. And I take that assessment and then we meet for 30 minutes where I'm identifying the growth potential that you have, the things that you need to change, and where you need to go, and giving you the what and the how so that you can actually reclaim your time, get more time for yourself and your family, and not burn yourself out while continuing to grow and impact people through your business. So if you're running a profitable business and that business is running you into the ground, book business audit. That is in the show notes for you. And I'll see you guys next week.